find a and yourselves before the event to honor today's speakers. Our first speaker today is Bridget O'Grady. Bridget will be introduced by her father, Tom O'Grady.
I know most of you seniors in the room will not agree with what I'm about to say, and I'm absolutely sure my daughter Bridget will not agree. But I think the senior speech is one of the greatest traditions that Louisville Collegiate performs. And the reason I think the speech is that is because it gives us this culmination to these high school years you've been experiencing, and makes us look forward to the chapter that's about to unfold for all of you. Goodbye is something we all say every day. And sometimes it's extremely easy, and other times it's very, very difficult. And right now, I'm not really looking forward to another difficult goodbye. So the senior speech provides a nice transition to that. But what also provides a nice transition to that is having a daughter who's incredibly adept at quick, simple, and often abrupt goodbyes. And I found this out about Bridget O'Grady when we dropped her off her first year at summer camp when she was 7 years old. In the middle of nowhere, North Carolina, she didn't know a soul. She walks into her cabin, meets her counselors, meets her bunkmates, and never looks back. Not a wave, a hug, a letter for 3 weeks. And I'm pretty certain the only person who shed a tear that day is standing at this podium right now. Now, Bridget, that's a trait that's going to pay you dividends in life, and I'm going to lean on it greatly when I drop you off at college. And as we head down the home stretch to this senior year, I'm so proud of everything that you've accomplished so far, and I so look forward to the story you're about to script as you head off to college. In life, we all have many unexpected journeys, and today, Bridget's going to speak to you about one of her unexpected journeys in her collegiate experience. So, Bridget, I'm going to leave you with the words of the great philosopher, Winnie the Pooh, who said, "The most important thing is even if we're apart, I'm always there." So with great pride, I introduce Bridget O'Grady.
As I'm sure many of you know, the Amazon soccer team had a record-breaking season this year, an effort that I contributed to as a cheerleader on the bench. I played on the soccer team for the 4 years I've been at Collegiate. Actually, I didn't do much playing, so let's just say I was on the soccer team. As much as I wish I could say that I was a soccer star like my sister or Molly, I spent most of my time on the bench. The first time I tried soccer was in 2nd grade, and I immediately realized that I hated it. I would cry in the backseat of the car on the way to practice, and when we got there, I'd refuse to get out of the car. It was only when my dad threatened to take away my SpongeBob privileges that I'd reluctantly stomp onto the field. I'd spend most of practice sitting on a soccer ball, picking at grass, and pretending not to know English when my dad would tell me I need to participate. I retired right after my 2nd grade season and vowed to never play again, but that promise didn't stick. Switching schools for high school made me a lot more open to trying new things. Coming to Collegiate as a freshman and being introduced to a new environment with new people was stressful, but also exciting because it gave me the ability to be open-minded about trying something new. Because of this new mindset, when Molly asked me to join the Collegiate soccer team, I wasn't completely opposed. Molly was going to be a senior when I was a freshman, and she said she wanted soccer to be a bonding experience for us, but she really just wanted to laugh at how bad I was. She finally convinced me, and I signed up for the soccer team, blissfully unaware that I was signing my soul away to the torture of preseason practices. When Molly dropped the news on me that I needed to sacrifice 2 months of my summer to soccer practice, I almost quit right there and then. Her constantly warning me about how hard the preseason warm-up wasn't helping either. I was stressed the whole week leading up to the first practice, wondering what the other girls in the team were like, but most importantly, what kind of torment the practice would put me through. It was worse than anything I imagined. Practice started at 8:30, so I rolled out of bed at 7:50, got ready, grabbed a protein bar and my water bottle, and chased Molly's car down the driveway. The only thing keeping me awake on the ride to practice was Molly's EDM music blasting through the car speakers. We were one of the first ones there, so I put on my cleats while I waited for the only other freshmen on the team to arrive, Amber and Paris Moon. The first part of the preseason practice was the warm-up Molly had told me about. Despite her warnings, I still didn't know what I was in for and almost passed out in the first 5 minutes. By the end, I was seeing Mr. Travis criticized that I wasn't exploding out fast enough. After that, we got a quick water break before jumping into drills. I'm sure Mr. Travis was ecstatic to have another O'Grady on the team and was hopeful that I'd live up to Molly's ability. I can't imagine how disappointed he was when he realized that wasn't the case. Within a few minutes of starting the drill, I was pulled out for passing lessons, and me and Parrots pathetically passed the ball to each other while the rest of the team practiced. I thought we were done after that. Molly had told me the legends of Mr. Gahan's conditioning for preseason and how brutal it was, but I thought I was in the clear because Mr. Gahan wasn't coaching for my first year of playing soccer. I was wrong because Mr. Travis was just as brutal. He had us run laps for the last 10 minutes of practice. After about 5 minutes of running, I pulled the asthma card and walked while everybody lapped me. I almost collapsed when me and Molly got home from the first day of preseason and was tearing up when she told me we'd have to do it all again the next day. All of that hard work during preseason led up to the games. I had to sit out for the first month or so of games because I had shin splints, and when I got cleared to play again, I was still sitting out. But I did get my 5 minutes of fame at the very end of the games when we were up by at least 2 goals. Every time I was on the field, Molly would always find a way to yell at me for something. I liked playing defense because it was simple. Just stay goal side and stop the other team from scoring. Sounds simple enough if you know what goal side means. For the entire first year I played soccer, I had no idea what goal side meant. No matter how many times it was explained to me, I just kept forgetting. So when I was playing and Molly screamed at me to stay goal side, I just stare at her as the person I was supposed to be guarding triple passed me with the ball. The first time I kicked the ball away from the other team and out of bounds, I was so proud of myself, only to turn around to Molly screaming that I was an idiot. I kicked the ball out right next to the goal, which was apparently not the right thing to do since it gave the other team a corner kick. At the end of the first game, Molly told me I was the least athletic person she knew and that it was kind of hard to watch. It took me 3 years to finally sort of get the hang of playing defense, but Mr. Travis decided to put me as a forward this year to give me the chance at getting a goal. Even though I'd been watching the team play for 3 years, I had no idea what to do. I didn't know where to run and mostly just copied whatever the other forward did. I also still couldn't kick the ball off the ground, so needless to say, that senior year goal never happened. So far, you'd think my soccer experience was absolutely miserable, but playing soccer is what I'll miss most about collegiate when I'm gone. The dynamic on the soccer team is what kept me playing the 3 years after Molly left. I loved contributing to something bigger than myself and being a part of a team where, even though I was absolutely awful, I was never criticized. Soccer gave me a place where I could laugh at my mistakes and where I could let go of my stress for a few hours. Practice was hard sometimes, but it was also super fun and gave me a lot of great memories. I'll miss Mr. Travis's aggressive hat throws when someone messes up on the field and his dry, sarcastic humor. I'll miss the water balloon fights and popsicles after long practices, and even being a bench warmer. Molly, you tease me for my lack of hand-eye coordination. You were always my #1 supporter, and I miss seeing you in the hallways every day. Mr. Travis and Mr. Gahan, I forgive you for putting me through so much torture during preseason, and thank you for putting up with me for 4 years. To all the freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and even seniors, I encourage you all to step out of your comfort zone and try something new. Don't let your ability stop you from experiencing new things and learn to laugh at yourself. Though I finished my soccer career with 0 goals, 0 assists, and no titles, the best memories I have at collegiate were made on the soccer field. Thank you.
Our second speaker today is Gillen Howard. Gillen will be introduced by her father, Peter Ashby Howard.
First off, great job, Bridget. So Gillen asked me to introduce her today with 2 caveats. Couldn't talk about myself, can't talk about how great she is. That's making this incredibly difficult. BDH, that's what we call her. It stands for Baby Doll Howard. Awesome, she's great. And I can't say anything really nice about you, so I thought I'd tell you a bunch of other stuff. First and foremost, she's named after a great-grandmother, Jane Gillen-Guile. Jane had 6 sons, refused to be called mom. Everyone called her Jane. She was a 12-year champion of curling in Cleveland. She could ski, she should do everything. She rolled hard, just like Gillen. Gillen can pop her hips on demand. It's disgusting, absolutely gross. I can't really talk about her feet because we're in mixed company. And she has this one thing, she's always so tired. There's no variation of how tired she is. It's always just so. You have no concept of pain, none whatsoever. She often challenges me to keep my feet in ice as long as she does, and I just simply cannot do it. She is tenacious, determined, as my mom would say, full of spit and vinegar, a really, really true girl boss. If I were cleared to say it, I'd say that her mother and I could not be more proud of the woman she has become. I'm not allowed to do that, so Dr. McCrae, can you strike that from the record? Without further ado, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce your mother and I's BDH. You all know her as Gillen Howard. Gillen Howard.
At the beginning of my senior year, I challenged myself to break out of my comfort zone and try and create connections with my peers. This challenge has led me to make closer friends, and for the first time in my collegiate career, I have realized how special the connections I have made with others are. For most of you, the only thing you know about me is I'm the girl who does ballet. And today, I would like to take my challenge from the beginning of the school year one step further and introduce myself to you all, and hopefully find some common interests between us. To begin, I would like to introduce my second favorite form of exercise that falls in the similar realm to ballet and dance. Pilates is my second favorite form of exercise and is the topic of my senior capstone. Pilates is a mind-body exercise technique that focuses on the power and control coming from your abdominal muscles. Some might describe me as a Pilates princess, but honestly, I enjoy being able to slow down my movements and find control in my work. I believe every single athlete should try Pilates at least once to find the benefits of injury prevention and stamina retention. By taking time to listen to your body and give it the attention it needs, you're able to stop injuries from happening. I have found major improvement in my pains and aches after starting Pilates, and it's helped me become a better and happier person. I would say I'm a pretty active person, and that is one of the reasons why I love downhill and cross-country skiing. When I was younger, I really enjoyed downhill skiing with my mom, dad, brother, and our family friends, but as time went on, I started to want to do more cardio during the winter to keep my body in shape. My parents started cross-country skiing when I was in middle school, and I started when I was in my sophomore year of high school. Cross-country skiing is no joke. Imagine all the fun of downhill skiing and then taking it away because you're literally hiking up a mountain with skis on. Usually, when cross-country skiing with my parents, you will find me in the back of the pack having a panic attack because I will complain about my hands or my feet being too cold in the altitude of Idaho. All of a sudden, after freaking out, I will get a sudden wave of determination and use my kick-down, double pull classic ski Nordic technique, which is a technique used to gain fast speed on a flatter part of a mountain or even while going downhill. The skier has to push back with their foot and simultaneously use both of their poles to quickly gain speed. I use this technique to pass my parents and meet them at the bottom of the trail, and I love skiing because it's one of the reasons why I love being in Idaho so much. Being surrounded by the warm sunshine and beautiful mountains while doing something active is one of my favorite things, and is one of the reasons why I love to hike as well. Hiking in Sun Valley, Idaho might be one of the best things I've ever done. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for taking me to the most amazing and beautiful place in the world. In my opinion, there's nothing better than the sage green horizon and the smell of fresh pine trees that engulf you as you venture into the forest. Even though I love hiking, it does have its downsides. One of those downsides is hiking with a fast and tiny dog. Whenever we go hiking as a family, we can never leave the youngest and loudest member of the Howard household behind. Fletcher is a tiny dog with fast feet and a dream to run away at any given moment. My brother usually takes Fletcher off leash, and 2 years ago on my brother's birthday, we almost lost the dog because Fletcher thought he saw a squirrel. It took us 30 minutes to find Fletcher in the Idaho mountains, and now we don't even think about taking Fletcher off leash in fear that he might become a coyote's next meal. Many senior speeches in the past have described a relationship or memory with a family member, and mine is no different than others. Many of you, I'm a little sister. If you don't know, I am related to the one and only Ashby Howard. Apparently, my brother was an amazing student and kind-hearted individual at school, but at home, he was not. When I was a baby, and Ashby was about 2 or 3 years old, he would repeatedly roll me down the stairs. Somehow, I never faced any serious brain injuries that I know of, and apparently I enjoyed being tossed down the stairs, but my parents put a stop to this dangerous game quickly. Being rolled down the stairs gave me the best nickname ever, Meatball, and has somehow created an ongoing joke in my household. I've never thought I would say this, but thank you, Ashby, for creating such a core memory in our family's life, and also for scaring Mom and Dad because they thought I was going to die every single time you decided to toss me down the stairs. Many of you might know this fun fact about me, but I think it's time I formally address my Minion obsession. Whether you've seen me creating Minion artwork to display in this lounge or wearing my Minion goggles at any given opportunity, I think it's safe to say my favorite movie franchise is the Minion franchise. The yellow pill-shaped creatures following evil villains around has been my favorite movie character since the 4th grade. I have dressed up as a Minion twice for Halloween,
4th grade and senior year, and I can usually be found playing the Minion Rush app at any given opportunity. Even though I might not be active while sitting on the couch playing this Minion Rush game, apparently I'm giving minions a good workout as they run around different scenes from the Minions movies, dodging obstacles and trying to get away from their nemesis of the villain they are serving. I'm not the best at directions, which I will explain in a moment, but at least while playing Minion Rush, I feel like I'm supporting the Minion cause and helping them escape danger. I wouldn't say I'm a terrible driver, but I'm terrible at listening to directions while driving a car. I think this lack of direction in a moving vehicle comes from the lack of control I have over the vehicle. Unlike Pilates or dance, driving takes a different sense of direction than moving your body in space, and honestly, maps can just be really confusing. For example, when I got my license in 2021, I made it my mission to drive to Bridget O'Grady's house all by myself instead of her coming to mine. At the time of my voyage, I lived about 15 minutes away from the O'Grady household, but sadly, my trip took longer than expected. It took me about an hour and 3 phone calls to ensure that I was on my way to get to Bridget's house. I don't really know what I did wrong besides confusing my left and my right due to my lack of direction, making the illegal left turn on a red light thinking it was my right, and turning into the wrong neighborhood at least 5 times, all while freaking out because I was so nervous I was going to get into a car crash. And before anyone asks, yes, I was using Google Maps, and now I really know my right from my left. Before I leave the stage today, I would like to thank everyone in this room for listening to my speech and contributing to my senior year goal of creating a closer bond with my grade. Dear underclassmen, if I could change one thing about my collegiate career, it would be that I took my safe options for granted and I lived in fear that people wouldn't like me. Instead of hiding my fears, I should have challenged myself earlier in high school. I should have sat at a different lunch table or talked to somebody I didn't know very well. I'm grateful that I've challenged myself to be more social and hope that we are all better friends now and I can get to know each other better with these fun facts about me.
Our third speaker today is Noah Rarick. Noah will be introduced by his father, Jim Rarick.
Noah James Rarick, born June 1st, 2005 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Children truly are a gift from the Lord, and Noah, you truly are a blessing to me, your mom, your siblings, Miriam, Hannah, and Lydia, and to your dogs, Buddy and Leo. You're a blessing to your teachers in school, your instructors in music, your friends that you've made over the years. Soon after Noah was born, his mom and his older sister Miriam and I moved from Minneapolis to Louisville, Kentucky. Noah was a simple and joyful boy, riding an engine, and then soon after that, his first bike. Noah and his younger brother Joshua loved to hit wiffle balls in the driveway, smacking them against the garage door. Noah and Joshua climbed the tree in the front yard. Noah, like his siblings, learned piano from his mom, and since his sister played violin, Noah learned viola. At the age of 9, Noah started taking classical guitar. His mom and I have watched Noah grow with his siblings, with academics, with sports, and with his friends. He has been steady and predictable, joyful and thoughtful. He has stayed focused on the simple things, and yet Noah enjoys complexity and profound beauty. And for sure, Noah has faced challenges in every area of life. In our family, with 3 sisters and a brother and imperfect parents. He's faced challenges in school, in sports, in friendships, and in music. Hardship and disappointment have been the fire for much of Noah's growth. Noah, Mom and I, Mom and I hope that you always remember how much we love you. Success will come, but so will disappointment. Whatever comes, we'll love you.
As most of you know, I didn't go to collegiate for lower school or middle school. I arrived an innocent prospect ready for freshman year, but I wasn't a normal student. I was homeschooled. I was homeschooled all the way up till high school without a TV or without a phone. So your expectations of me knowing certain things, like any episode of Friends or SpongeBob references, or anything to do with sports outside of soccer, should be pretty low. I admit that I don't know as much as the average person, but I like to envision myself as a lifelong learner, mainly because I think it'll take me that long to catch up to everybody else. However, I think these past 4 years being around different crowds, different people, and different perspectives has helped me expand my knowledge of the relevant things in life. When I was homeschooled, my family had an old MacBook computer where I did my work. On a typical day, it would take me hours just to finish one of those multiplication worksheets we did in 2nd and 3rd grade for math class. Because I was by myself all the time, I would make up challenges and games for myself to do throughout the day. I challenged myself to do one multiplication problem and then watch 30 minutes of YouTube videos, specifically the compilations of Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo playing soccer. Math, however, wasn't the only subject I learned. I was also in culinary school. My mom was my mentor. Just kidding, even though I wish she did teach me how to cook. My house had a backyard where I could explore the wonders of real-world science. I read books like A Very Hungry Caterpillar to test my skills. And I also took cartography. I can proudly say that in my 8th grade year, I was able to draw the entire world from memory, but that was in 8th grade. Also, for those who don't know, the language of a homeschooler is Latin, and I took it for 4 years. If my name was Romeo, Latin would be my poison. I did not have many strong opinions, nor hate many things besides dirty dishes and making the bed every morning when I was younger. Hatred for Latin was unparalleled. I never understood it, nor did it make any sense why living humans would want to speak a dead language. The only thing I can say and translate in Latin to this day is Veni, Vidi, Vici, which is a quote from the Roman ruler Julius Caesar. It translates to, I came, I saw, I conquered, which at the time was my mentality towards my classmates, who were my siblings. I also realized quite quickly it did not really matter how well I did with certain subjects, because even when you graduate top of your class, as my brother did, older sister, and soon younger sisters, you only walk away with a little less knowledge than your parents. I'm sure a lot of people might think that because I was homeschooled, I have terrible time management. But truthfully, homeschooling has helped me realize that the quicker you finish your work, the sooner you can do other things. Now, for those of you who don't know how the homeschooling curriculum works, it essentially is a student gets assigned work to do throughout the week, a couple of hours each day, Monday through Friday. There are some weeks when I would get all my work done on Monday and Tuesday, and I'd have the rest of the week to myself. I spent my time watching Curious George, watching more YouTube videos, or playing piano or guitar. Now, a common conception, sometimes misconception, is that homeschooled kids can socialize. I'm not afraid to say that I didn't know how to start a conversation, keep a conversation, or how to stop one. Remember one time my dad took me to the bank, and there was an old dude with the Louisville Cardinals hat on who stood behind us. I, being the bright homeschooled kid I was, unknowingly was also wearing a Cardinals jacket. When it was my dad's turn to talk to the lady up front, I stood behind him, just glaring at the old guy. Eventually, the guy asked me if I was a Cardinal fan. I stood there, still glaring. As far as I knew, a cardinal was a type of bird. I had no understanding of who or what cardinal he was talking about. I ended up not saying anything and just hiding behind my dad. I remember other experiences at restaurants where I'd beg my parents to order for me because I was too afraid to do it myself. I can confidently say that I've passed that phase of my life and now can do it myself. When it came to my transition from homeschooling to collegiate, I was forced entirely out of my comfort zone. It was quite understandable considering I was a new student, did not know anyone in my grade, and came from an awkward background. I remember my first exposure to my grade. I participated in a writing camp taught by Miss Bowles early in the month of August before freshman year. There, I met two of my classmates, Pi Bowden and Luke English, for the first time. I tried my best to introduce myself to the people the way my parents taught me. A firm handshake, but not too hard. To look at them in the eye, but not too hard. And to find a common interest to discuss. I remember my first conversation with Alex Cara as a great example of how I pushed the stereotypes of homeschooling. I introduced myself, and we started talking about both our passions for soccer. After about 30 seconds, I recognized him as the goalkeeper from a soccer club called Javanon. Eventually, he too connected the dots. I was on the team they just recently beaten 8-0. That conversation did not last long, and I still remember the embarrassment I felt in that moment. Needless to say, my adjustment to wearing khaki pants and polos for 5 out of 7 days compared to pajamas a week has settled in with time. I value the relationships I've made with friends and teachers and thank them for helping me throughout my collegiate journey. To my mom and dad, in all seriousness, thank you for all the times you've helped me make decisions, been there for me, and how you've shaped me into the person you see standing in front of you. I love you guys. Thank you.
Let's have another round of applause for those amazing speeches. Okay, you all may go now.